First of all, Happy New Year.
Yippee!
Up next, Scott Shaffer versus Calab Hammer.
Calab Hammer might sue me for this video, and that isn't clickbait at all.
Spoiler alert, it's been 1 year since this video came out and he has not been sued yet. I was aware of these two before this drama, but I didn't really know them. The only thing I knew Scott Shaffer from was his established title videos. And for Calab Hammer, well, I saw his videos on my feed few times.
He's already threatened legal action against me multiple times before I even released this video, simply for looking into a story he doesn't want covered and not immediately accepting his point of view.
The behavior that you see from Scott Shaffer is something that you will expect from someone when they have a smoking gun. But looking at the evidence, it's not really as smoking as Scott Shaffer thinks it is. I won't call him malicious, but at times it is really hard to make an argument that he's not.
Now, a few weeks ago, I was presented with some information that Calab Hammer, a finance YouTuber with 1 million subscribers, had allegedly acted inappropriately with a guest on his show. I reached out to Calab by email to get his side of the story, as these allegations were pretty severe, and I had no interest in making a video without getting everyone's side of the story. Calab initially was very friendly over email and denied all the claims against him.
Okay, let's see what we have here. By the way, I'm going to skip few parts. I have been dealing with what this former guest, Zeke, has said for almost a year. He was on my show 3 times and a pilot episode for a show called Dating Money. And after begging to be on the 4th time for months, I said he needed to make actual progress so he can come on again. He said it was his career too, and eventually blew up. He started posting random allegations online in different places, many of which didn't catch my attention or knowledge at the time. Over the course of a month, the allegations kept changing until he got something that was picked up by other people online. The first time he came on my show, we talked about his OF. He told me after the episode recording that he wanted to build his Twitch and OF like many other Austin creators. He asked for a collab and connections. That's where I tried to offer a collab there. Okay, now I want you to remember this. Zeke is asking for help with his OnlyFans.
Hi, my name's Zeke Quiroga. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I'm 19 years old, and this is Financial Audit.
Him and even told me to have a great day. What a nice young man. Unfortunately, that attitude quickly changed when I didn't immediately accept what he had to say as fact. He told me he wasn't interested in doing a Zoom call because he wasn't interested in participating in the internet drama industry, which I found to be quite funny since, in my opinion, his channel is entirely based on drama around other people's finances. He then made his first of many legal threats, stating that, in preparation for your video, we will be ready for legal repercussions for defamatory statements with very clear evidence proving our case. Now keep in mind that this was after I had sent him only 2 emails and was just trying to get the details around the initial case.
99% of the time, if someone threatens to sue you, they are probably trying to shut down the story. But then again, there is that 1%. And if what Calab Hammer is saying is true, that this Zeke guy has lied on numerous occasions, is threatening his life and even doxed him, I will be pissed off as well and probably threaten you with a lawsuit.
That his lawyer had gathered all videos and text that clearly show his first accuser, Zeke, is lying and made the statement that they are prepared to release these. I asked in the follow-up email if I could see any of the evidence they'd gathered, including videos Zeke supposedly deleted, and even told Calab directly that if he can prove to me Zeke is lying, I wouldn't make any video on this topic and would move on.
Can you link me to one of his videos that's on his channel that proves he's a liar? If you can prove to me he's a lying, then obviously I won't make a video about this, Calab Hammer responds. You have watched the video where he says he's doing this for drama, and you don't think he's lying. You have looked into his past posts and seen that he changes his allegations multiple times, and you don't think he's lying. Of course, I deny touching him. The voice memo has context that I have given 1000 times. It's your job to look into things, not mine. Well, Calab Hammer is not really wrong. It is Scott's job to figure out if this Zeke guy is lying or not and get all the videos. But it would have been better if Calab Hammer just handed him the evidence. And that's what's annoying about this entire drama. This could have been a fucking email. But here we are.
And was prepared to release. To me, that seemed like a fairly basic request, and as I stated to Calab before, if the evidence was as strong as he suggested, I would have never made a video covering any of this. Following all this, Calab decided to publicly post to his community tab and Twitter a long post claiming I was just a drama YouTuber and questioning my integrity. He then happily responded to one post on Twitter saying, "I'm excited. I've never sued anyone before. This will be fun."
Okay, this is like the worst thing to do. The best thing to do would have been to let the video come out, and if the video is not really that strong, just ignore it.
I was given after. What many people don't know is that many of the early guests on Calab Hammer's show were actually paid actors hired off of a website known as Backstage to appear on the show. Zeke was one of the actors that claims to have found out about Calab's show from the site, and from the listing Zeke showed me, the offer was quite generous, with an initial small $25 appearance fee, and then a 25% commission on all revenue generated from the episode for 12 months. Anticipated commission was believed to range from $2,500 to $8,000, depending on video performance. Zeke, only 19 at the time, jumped at the chance to make to him what seemed like a large sum of money. Many people have seen Zeke's episode, have called him an insufferable brat, and way worse things, but don't seem to understand that the attitude portrayed by Zeke isn't true to his normal personality from what I've seen talking to him, and was designed to get as many views as possible to increase his chance of making more money and getting more screen time. This tactic ended up working, and Zeke appeared 2 more times on the Calab Hammer show, racking up a total of over 1 million views across the 3 episodes he appeared. Those view totals should have netted him a large sum of money if the commission payments seen in the job offer were paid. However, Zeke's claimed to have only received a couple $100s in total for his time on the show.
Is it out of the realm of possibility that at the time they overestimated the commission?
I'd love to hear from you, and my email is linked below. While the issue of the alleged missing payments is important, the bigger issue came up in July of 2022 after Zeke's first appearance on the show, when Caleb ended up leaving a very disturbing audio message on Zeke's phone.
I can tell you're a cool dude, and I want to, if there's any connections that I have, which I've built a lot of connections in Austin, anything that I'm able to kind of link you to, I definitely want to be helpful. The main reason I haven't wanted to have this conversation via text is... Sorry, I had to burp. One, I'm not used to OnlyFans, straight up. It's not really my scene. I'm a personal finance dude. I don't really know anything about that. 2, I'm straight. I'm 90% straight. I've definitely fooled around because I'm open-minded.
Well, that's called being gay.
And when you get drunk, whatever. But, so, and this is like a man-on-man thing. But essentially, I think, from the conversation I had with him, the pay will be dependent on what you're willing to do, and what you're willing to do is set by you. So what he would like to do, you guys make out. He would like to do that. What he would like you guys to do, him fill you up. He would like to do that. You can say no about any of these. He would like to play with your dick. And see, that's why I didn't want to type this out either, because that's weird for me to say. I don't, it's not like we're friends or anything, but that's what he wants to do. He wants to give you a blowjob. I was also told and confirmed with him that your face would be hidden, blurred out and hidden. Your identity would be hidden. And then if you wanted to give a blowjob, you could. Again, you would make more from that, and he would eat your butt, and you would make more for that. You can say no as well. You could top him, he could top you. Whatever you're willing to do comes with more money, but you could literally do nothing. You could literally just lay back and let him just touch you for the video, and I guess for some reason his subscribers love that, and you'd get paid for it. So really, that's what it is. And there's things that I think I don't feel comfortable talking about in this kind of situation, and I'd be happier to talk over in person. Maybe I'm just that kind of person. So you just let me know what you think.
If I got this voice message from nowhere, you're getting blocked. But it isn't really out of the left field now, is it? Zeke has clearly asked for help. That is why this message exists.
I'm straight. I'm 90% straight.
Personally, I would say you shouldn't really try to mediate. The best thing to do would be to just say no, or just share the contact information of this OnlyFans guy.
He was interested in doing adult content with other men, which he quickly denied. Zeke said that the reason Calab kept pushing the gay OnlyFans content when Zeke only wanted to work with women was because Zeke believed this was an attempt by Calab to hook up with him instead.
As for the gay stuff, sure, it is weird, but somehow saying that this is clearly a ploy from Calab Hammer to fuck the Zeke guy is a next level reach.
Interestingly enough, the only piece of evidence Caleb sent me to support his claim actually supports Zeke's claim that he never wanted to do hardcore content or ever brings up doing content with men, saying he was only interested in softcore, lewds, and soul.
Interestingly, Scott Shaffer has a very bad reading comprehension, or is just misrepresenting this. But just softcore and loot right now as solo. Once I get more followers and money into it, I want to do tapes with different models I meet. Now I cannot be sure that Scott Shaffer didn't put up the wrong screenshot here, or did he just read the first line? But when someone says tapes, I am sure it is safe to assume that they are willing to do hardcore content. But then again, this is the world of Scott Shaffer, and my opinions are optional.
Caleb runs a finance YouTube channel, and many people call him the millennial Dave Ramsey. If Dave ever had someone call into the show and then ask them if they wanted to give a BJ on OnlyFans to help pay down some of their credit card debt, I'm pretty sure he would lose a large chunk of his audience for saying something like that.
Do you guys see now what I meant when I said it is bordering on malicious? Because it is clear that this is not what is going on here. Because Zeke asked for his help. A better Dave Ramsey example would be if someone called into his show and asked how to grow their OnlyFans. And Dave Ramsey said, how about giving a BJ on OnlyFans?
Caleb claims he was just trying to help Zeke out, and if that was the case, there was clearly a better option to do that. Option 1 would have been to not talk about OnlyFans at all, since mixing finance content and sex work is probably not the best idea. Option 2 would have been to leave a simple message for Zeke telling him he had an OnlyFans friend who might want to work with him, and then simply give Zeke's contact info to the friend so the two of them could work something out. Option 3, the nuclear choice that Caleb picked, comes across incredibly creepy, unprofessional, and in my opinion,
sure, he could not talk about OnlyFans, but Zeke, my boy Zeke here, is asking,
Hi, my name's Zeke Kuroga.
for help with OnlyFans. But Scott is correct, the second option would be better.
give some belief to some of Zeke's claims because of how detailed the voice message was, along with Caleb's self-reveal that he is only 90% straight, and his follow-up text of telling Zeke he would needed to vet him in person before connecting him with his OnlyFan friend. This comment doesn't make any sense to me since Caleb and Zeke had already shot an episode of Financial Audit together, so I don't understand what sort of vetting process Caleb had in mind.
Well, that's not what it says. So what do you think? He still wants me to vet you, and I can make him cover your gas for the trip. It doesn't sound like, oh, I need to make sure you give good BJs, bro. Ho ho ho. That is not what it sounds like. It sounds more like, hey, you are introducing me to this guy. You sure he's not like a piece of shit or something? At least that is what it sounds like to me, and I could be wrong.
This wasn't Caleb's first attempt at offering OnlyFans to people who appeared on his show. On Caleb's subreddit, early on in his YouTube career, he made a post explaining he had offered OnlyFans work unsolicited to several of the actors who appeared on his show and wanted to ask his audience if they felt this was appropriate. After his audience overwhelmingly made it clear they felt this was not appropriate and questioned why he was doing this, Caleb quickly deleted the post.
Okay, this is fair. I don't want my financial advisor to give me OnlyFans connections either. So that makes it 1. We have 1 allegation that I can get behind.
Unfortunately, Zeke's claims against Caleb don't end there, as Zeke has also made the claim that Caleb inappropriately touched him after the filming of their second episode together. Yeah, you're claiming he actually touched you inappropriately as well?
Yeah, he did. He locked me in his house after the second filming. When his friend who helps him film, he left. I was locked in his house, and he sat me down on his couch in the living room, and he was trying, like, the reason why I was on those shows so many times is because I was looking for opportunity, and he kept promising opportunity aside from the OnlyFans stuff, but he was really trying to lure me in with that. He was breadcrumbing me. And so the second time we filmed, I was on the couch and he would not let me leave. He would not pay me what I was owed for that filming, and essentially he didn't give me the money until he groped me. And I needed that money to go home because he knew all my personal finances. He knew how much money I had. I had no money when I showed up. I had zero money because I had spent it on gas to get to Austin. He knew that.
Okay. How much did he claim he was going to be giving you?
Thousands.
And how much did you?
The contract was thousands of dollars, and he only paid me less than $200 for filming.
Accusations like these are very hard to confirm. Cause just because there is not evidence doesn't mean it never happened, but at the same time, if there is no evidence, did it really happen? So personally, I am not touching this with a 16-foot pole. Up next, Scott Shaffer brings up some text messages that he got from an informant. Now the text messages have been confirmed to be true by Calab Hammer himself.
It didn't take long for another source to come forward, and I was contacted on Twitter by a former friend of Caleb who had known him for years. He went into detail about their history, and while I have to keep most of his initial message private so as not to dox him, his final paragraph paints Caleb in a very bad light. I share all of this with you to say that everything.
Now personally, I don't really care about this message, simply because I don't know who this guy is. I don't know Calab Hammer personally, and I don't know Scott Shaffer personally. So this character testimony, because this is what it is, a character testimony, means nothing. For all that I care, this informant might just have a vendetta against Caleb.
Its YouTube channel took off. This group eventually started a Facebook group chat for its members to talk about their musical careers, as well as other topics, and it's from this chat that the alleged texts from Caleb come from. The source of the text, who asked me to conceal his identity, explains to what extent he believed the group was for.
We felt, or at least I got the impression, that we had very clearly agreed that it was a professional chat, and that we had professional friendships, and that we were approaching it in that way. We did not really touch on topics like that very much.
The topics that he felt were inappropriate are what we're going to be focusing on.
Now before we get into the chat messages, I want you all to remember this. This is a professional group chat.
The first one that made several people uncomfortable was Caleb's comments about finding a 16-year-old boy hot. Now in this chat group, everyone has nicknames instead of their actual name being used. I was told that Caleb picked many of these nicknames, but a few were picked by other members. Caleb was allegedly known as Super Ho Diddly Ho. So the user known as Has Sex All the Time says, "What's this hit beat you got playing?" Super Ho responds with "Smoking is gross." Uncut responds with "So is saying that 15-year-old boys are hot." Dancing says "Oh damn." Super Ho responds with 16. Uncut says "Doesn't make your case any better."
A professional group chat with names like Super Ho Diddly Ho, Has Sex All the Time, and Uncut. Scott also says that a lot of these nicknames were picked by Calab Hammer, and a few were chosen by others. So which one are the ones that Calab Hammer picked? Because if it's like all these Uncut type of names were picked by Calab Hammer, well, that just makes your case a lot stronger right here.
Super Ho responds with, "Haha, thinking from a picture is cute isn't bad. I don't think the person was cut because they are young. He had facial hair. Like, come on." Uncut.
Well, the first screenshot doesn't really have any dates or timestamps that I can see. So I would really like to know where this comes in. Were these messages sent after the second screenshot, or are they from a different conversation that happened before the second screenshot?
Says why screenshot, because Super Ho had taken a picture of this guy's Snapchat of his 16-year-old friend, and Super Ho says, "He hot, is gay, please." Uncut says, "He's 16 and no, effing perv." Super Ho responds with shame. Uncut says, "What was the age of consent in Michigan?" Super Ho says 16. Uncut says Texas is 17. And Super Ho says shame.
Ooh boy, what the fuck am I looking at? Caleb, my boy, you can't be sending this type of shit, man. Now before I defend this, I just want you to know, I don't support this. What I want to know is, did Caleb knew that this guy was 16 when he took the screenshot? Because this makes it way worse. Caleb knew that he was 16 and he took the screenshot, or did Caleb take the screenshot and then he was informed that this guy is 16?
Commenting on the hotness of kids. Now that wasn't the only time Super Ho made comments about teenage boys. In another post, it made it clear that Super Ho has no qualms about his desire for those young teenage boys. So in these chat messages, Super Ho posts a picture of another member's Instagram page that shows a young boy, and he asks who the guy's name is, and the other guy gives him his name, which I blocked out, and then Uncut says Caleb's boy crush, and Super Ho responds with, "I would like to personally stick my penis in a hole of his. Any hole will do, thank you." Uncut responds with gross, and Super Ho responds with hot, let me. Uncut responds with, "Dude, he's like 14. Super Ho responds with, "Nah, probably around the other MCI member's age, if they were there with him." Later, Superho says, and if fuck, 17, it's legal there, it is here. Uncut responds with, Caleb, you're 23, that's gross. Superho says, not really, what I'm 50 and I find a sexy 21-year-old I could be his sugar daddy, I will do it, or her sugar daddy. Has sex all the time responds with a confused or upset meme. And then Superho says, both my grandparent sets are 10 years apart, 6 years is nothing. I would shove that cock right down his throat where it belongs. Uncut responds with, it's something if they're underage. Superho says anything under 16 is. Believe it or not, 17 is not under 16. Has sex all the time responds with another meme. Uncut then says, still not an adult. Superho says, I fucked too many people when I was not an adult. Uncut says, just trying to save you from trouble. Superho says, if something is not against the law, there would be no trouble. Uncut responds with, I mean you do you and do those boys. And Superho responds with, I do.
Now, before I say anything, if it comes out that Caleb Hammer is a creep and a freak, I just want to say that I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Now, Caleb Hammer argues that these are jokes. If this was a professional group chat, yes, posting anything like this is fucking stupid and you should not do it. But from what I have seen, I cannot really say that this group chat was supposed to be professional. It could have started out as professional, but saying that throughout its lifespan it was professional is very misleading. I'm not saying this just because of the nickname. Scott shows more screenshots from this group chat and I will just let him read them.
On another occasion, Superho decided it would be a bright idea to post a screenshot of an adult video of two men having anal in the chat. This pissed off everyone in the group, and few of the younger members of the group were quickly removed from the chat before they saw the image so they wouldn't have to be subjected to it. So in these chats right here, you can see several members are talking about different adult stars that they like. Superho talks about how Kyler Moss used to be his favorite adult star. I wish he didn't stop. He stopped a few years back. Now my favorite is Joey Mills. So these texts go on for a while until Uncut eventually says it's all fun and games until Caleb posted a picture of Joey Mills getting effed. And then a few minutes later, Superho actually posts an uncensored picture of Joey Mills and another guy, to which he responds, haha, changed it on you, it's Joey Mills topping. And then you can see pretty much everyone in the group is extremely ticked off that he decided to post this because it was clearly just a joke, and then he decided it would be hilarious to post uncensored adult content in this chat. And you can see several people asking him to remove it, and they removed other people in the group so they wouldn't be subjected to actually seeing this image. And Caleb doesn't really seem, or Superho doesn't really seem like it's a big deal to him.
Yeah, this is definitely a professional group chat here. This is clearly a gooning chat. Now it sounds like I am defending Caleb Hammer, and I kind of am, to be honest. Here's the thing, these screenshots are all that we have. We don't have the entire chat log, or hell, even extended chat logs. The screenshot could have been selectively taken to make Caleb Hammer look bad. The reason why I say this is because let's just say that there is a professional group chat that you're in, and there is this one guy who kept making inappropriate and unwanted sexual comments. In this scenario, what would you do? If everyone in a group chat agrees that these comments are inappropriate and we don't want them here, you will definitely say, hey, this is a group chat, it is supposed to be professional, let's take these type of messages somewhere else. Or you would kick this guy out of the chat. But at no point in these screenshots you get messages of them confronting Caleb, saying like, hey, these are inappropriate and we don't want them here, or even them kicking Caleb out. The only people who got kicked were the people who weren't participating in these group chats. So at some point, the other guys in the chat definitely made these types of jokes, which we don't get to see at all. And that is the reason why I feel that these screenshots are selectively taken. As for the 16-year-old messages, I personally find them disgusting and agree that these types of jokes are a bit too far. But then again, this is not a group chat that I'm in. I don't know what the dynamic of this group is, and I don't know what flies in this friendship. So I cannot really say that these are not jokes, because frankly, I don't think a cupcake enjoyer is going out there and telling everyone that they like cupcakes. And more importantly, if this informant felt that these messages aren't really jokes, why is Caleb Hammer still in the group chat? Because if this was my best friend and I got a gut feeling that he is a cupcake enjoyer, you bet I'm not talking to that guy ever again. And that is why I don't really think these messages are anything but jokes.
When I spoke to the informant about these texts, he made it clear that he felt Caleb seemed to be a very callous and disrespectful individual, and he seemed to take pleasure in making other members of the group uncomfortable. Those texts you saw were from 2018, but when Caleb allegedly rejoined the group just a couple of years ago, the informant claimed his behavior hadn't changed at all.
Those interactions that I had with Caleb were my earlier interactions with him back in 2018. Throughout the extent of time that we were in those series of sort of friendly but professionally minded group chats, Caleb was consistently a source of argument, of disrespect, of flippancy, and was always acting with in what I found to be a very callous manner. Become very noticeable to me that Caleb was very consistent about making things uncomfortable, and expressed that he took pleasure in sort of initiating those uncomfortable situations. There was a period of a few years in which I did not speak to him, and in which he was not part of those group chats. He returned to our primary composer group chat in, I believe it was 2023. And it was as if nothing had changed at that time. So he continued to make sexual references when they were completely unprompted or unwarranted. He would initiate arguments. He would not accept differing opinions. He would repeatedly insist on arguing his point, no matter how much anybody else would try to resolve an argument by agreeing to disagree. And so just from the first time I've known him throughout many years, he has always been somebody who is interested in generating conflict, is interested in making people uncomfortable, and who is I think I get the impression and have the opinion that he is a narcissistic individual who thrives off of the negative emotions he elicits in others.
Okay, a question for the informant. Why was he let in? If you guys really didn't like his sexual comments, why did you let him in? I ask you, if you feel that he's a piece of shit and a narcissist, and everyone in the group chat agrees with you, why did you let him in? It's not like you guys are in college and you have to deal with him. So why did you let him in? Or was it just you who felt this way?
Knowing what we know now, Superho clearly is attracted by young teenage boys. Caleb's original accuser Zeke was also a teenage boy at the time of the alleged events, and also has a similar skin tone to the picture.
Okay, Scott, my boy, let's not lump in a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old together. One of them is 19.
Hi, my name's Zeke Quiroga. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I'm 19 years old.
Older than 18. And another one is 16. Smaller than 18. I said this is leaning towards malicious, but holy fuck, this is malicious. One of them is a 19-year-old who has an OnlyFans. So let's not call him a teenage boy.
Knowing what we know now, Superho clearly is attracted by young teenage boys. Caleb's original accuser Zeke was also a teenage boy at the time of the alleged events.
Up next, Scott Shaffer talks about how Calab Hammer runs his YouTube channel, and also does an interview with a former guest of Calab Hammer's show, who is not really happy with how she was portrayed. And to that I say, I don't really fucking care. You know what was going to happen. And if you want to argue, oh, I did not know, this is what's going to happen, well, maybe you should have done a bit of research and went to the YouTube channel and watched a few videos. Long story short, I don't give a shit about that part and I'm not going to cover it. Scott has made 3 more videos on Calab Hammer, which I will be covering in the next video, because this one is long enough. And if you made it this far, let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye.